This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded January 29th, 2012. Episode 80, Otiose, Ontocyclic, Opiniasters.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
I have to say it, Arduino sucks.
You're just having a bad Monday, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so.
It's Monday there.
It is a Monday.
Yeah.
Usually we record on Tuesdays, my time, of course.
Yeah, yours,
which is
right.
the lead-in time because we're ahead of the US.
Of course,
in everything.
you guys are always ahead of us.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know, in terms of kangaroo races and
Right.
shrimp barbieing.
Shrimp barbieing, yeah. And there's koalas climbing the harbour bridge. And, yep.
Yep. So,
Oh, boy.
Monday, yeah. How's Monday going? Other than...
Freaking Monday. Well, all my hurdles are past me, so Monday's looking good.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So, Arduino problems, huh?
Yeah. It sucks. This is the first time I've ever, actually designed a real Arduino. Like, I've hooked up an Arduino and typed a bit of code in and something popped up on the LCD and it worked, that kind of thing. But
Yeah, like a
actually
Hello
design
World.
a product, Arduino compatibility, into a product, and it's been nothing but a nightmare.
Well, so what made you decide in the first place to use one? I mean, because maybe it's your fault for using it.
Well, it is, yeah, of course. And everyone says that, duh, of course Arduino sucks. Why the hell are you doing that? And, the idea was that this is a power supply kit and, it's for beginners. And I thought, the community can build on Arduino's massively popular. It might be popular, it might be even more popular if people see, oh, it's Arduino compatible. I know how to program in Arduino. Great. I can modify the code and,
So it's kind of
do
like
stuff like that.
broad base, making it acceptable, not acceptable, but more accessible, rather, for everyone.
Making it more accessible for more people, yes.
Yeah,
and
it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly, and that was the
Minus
intention. And I thought I'd give it a go.
Inability to code in it, right?
Well, yeah. No, it's problems with the tools and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I thought, well, why not? Because it's just an AVR. If I don't like it, I can always, I didn't like it. Or somebody doesn't like it, they can always go back and program directly in C or freaking Klingon or whatever it is they want
because it's an
on the
abstraction
AVR.
layer, basically, right?
Yeah, it's Arduino's just another extraction layer on top of, regular C++, really. So, and it's handy because there's lots of libraries out there. There's libraries for Ethernet. If I want to add Ethernet to this thing real easily, there's an Arduino library. I plug in a module and bang, away it goes,
Mm-hmm.
There's that massive support base out there of all these libraries.
So what's the great thing?
Which brings me to my first gripe,
Oh, boy.
which is
That means there's a lot, isn't
it? All these hundreds of thousands of libraries people have written all out there, right?
Yeah.
A good lot of them now are useless. They have to be rewritten.
Oh, no, because of the hardware?
Arduino have gone from alpha.
Uh-huh.
I had forgotten that. Arduino's always been up until, I don't know when they released 1.0 recently, right, in the last month or two, has been alpha software. So it's grown to this massive popularity based on the software's, alpha.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even beta, right? Anyway, the Arduino team released the version 1.0 software.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I remember when that happened. That was a month ago or so.
So I went to the website. Okay, I need the latest version of Arduino. I'm going to download the latest version, right? 1.0. Of course I'm going to do that.
Yep.
And it turns out, that's the wrong thing to do. Arduino 1.0 sucks ass, or sucks ass. Sucks American ass. So everyone tells me. And it's not compatible with a whole bunch of existing code out there. They've changed the API, the application programming interface. They're presumably for good reasons, in the future it'll, everyone will thank them for it, right? But at the moment, no.
Yeah,
a lot of the existing code out there is
right
broken.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, maybe they should have done that with the pin spacing, on the header.
What do you mean?
All those. The incompatible, and the shield. On the Arduino header shield uses an incompatible, it's not on a 0.1 inch footprint. And they've been copping flack over that for years now.
It's not 0.1? I thought it was.
No,
Oh.
it's not. There's one pin which is on one of the headers which is offset by 50 mil, and that screws everything up.
Yeah, now that I think, I do remember people talking.
Yeah.
I always thought they were talking about, they always said 0.1, but I didn't realize they were saying that it didn't have 0.1, so.
Yes, it didn't have point. It's got 0.1 for all of them except one of the headers, which is offset, and they admitted that, whoever laid out the first board goofed it, and they've had to live with that footprint ever since, rather than take their medicine up front and just, okay, we screwed up, we'll fix it. All the existing shields, which aren't many at the moment, are incompatible. And, we'll just go forward. But it looks like they've done a similar thing. They've taken their medicine now with the environment, the API, and it's broken all this existing code.
Which is a good design lesson, right? I mean, there's no way to know that. There's no way for them to know that they were going to be extending for this long, right? But
no, exactly.
But you're right. Now you got to support it all. That backwards compatibility issue.
That backwards compatibility
is a big deal. And if people haven't dealt with that,
it's the main attraction. I mean, if there's one big attraction to Arduino, it is the fact that there's so many people using it and so much existing example code out there. It's everything, and now it's a good lot of it. Some people say, 95% of it, but I don't think it's that high, is incompatible with the new API. It's not hard, apparently, to change the code to fix it.
Yeah.
But the fact is, if you're a beginner, you download it, compile, fail, doesn't work, gives you all these cryptic C++ error messages.
Well, you know what the real solution would be? If this was like NASA or, like the NOAA, like the National Weather Service, anything like that. Right, You know what they would do here, right? They would hire an old geezer to maintain the old code, and then they just build another abstraction layer on top of that, and then you just start again.
Right, yeah.
That's the way it's done. That's why people are still writing Fortran.
That's the way it's done in the banking industry, right? They're still using, all the baseline codes all in Fortran and COBOL.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they also have to buy 133 megahertz motherboards, with the turbo button. And, I've seen that before. It's amazing. I've actually talked to a coworker about this before. How I'm not sure how the logistics of it would work, but I think there's a real business case for starting a business where all you do is support old designs. And
that reminds me, there's a company that does that.
There is. Oh, tell me about them.
Before I forget, I tweeted it the other day. They start with WDC or something is the name of the company, and they've just released the 6502 processor in the original DIP40 package.
That's right. Yeah. I saw that.
And you can buy it from Mouser, right? So if they're, some people complain, it's $7 or something,
Right.
And
but that's the thing. That's the brilliant thing about this business idea, because people will pay it. I mean, they'll pay more than that.
Of course they will.
If you are in a jam and you can't get a 6502 and it's in the only product you sell, you're going to pay infinity dollars, right? I mean, there will be a practical there'll be a practical limit where they can't, the company buying that processor can't sell to their customers anymore. But believe me, it is very high. And there's other companies based on that same kind of thing. I mean, Rochester Electronics, they
sell old surplus ICs.
Yeah, they buy die and they either cut the die.
That's a huge market. Yeah. Especially for stuff I've worked on in the past, which is old design based on military stuff. A lot of military stuff is, it's already 10 years behind when it actually gets released, and then 10 years later when you've got to maintain it again, you're using 20-year-old chips, so you've got to go out and find that 20-year-old processor,
Yeah. So,
and there's a niche market out there for that.
Yep. Oh, here we go. This is actually a programming. This is a programming thing, but I think we get extended to hardware here. It's an idiom, right? Programming is like sex. One mistake and you have to support it for the rest of your life.
Beautiful.
I mean, you really do. It's the same thing, though. If you really do have these weird paradigms that you have to support, then you got to just keep dealing with them. And people. And then the real problem is, as a young whippersnapper myself, the young whippersnapper comes in and says, I can fix this. And basically, you struggle against it for about 6 months. And then finally, you're just like, all right, fine.
Yeah, just give in it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I get it now.
I give up.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so that sucks. You gotta deal with that. But so are you gonna switch over to a new board or something? Because you're already on Rev 2, aren't you?
I'm already on Rev 2 or Rev B board, yes. And I'm going to go to a Rev C because there's a few things on there I want to change. There was one error because I was dragging around my schematics, right? You know, if you've watched the videos, I went from everything jammed onto one A4 sheet into when I did Rev B, it was in a bigger A3 sheet. You probably don't know what A4 and A3 is, being a Yank.
A4 is
right?
close to 8.5 by 11. Which is
it's close to
letter.
Yes, it's close to the letter size. I don't know what A3 would be, but A3
like
is
tabloid.
double A4 size.
Yeah, it's like tabloid, basically like a schematic size, right? I mean, that's what you really want to print on.
Yeah. So I reformatted it to that. So that entailed dragging my schematics around, copy and pasting, and putting nice, pretty boxes around them, and doing all of that. Yeah. And in the process of doing that, I obviously deleted a couple of lines and thought I could put them back, and I swapped 2 pins on the op amp, didn't I?
No.
So, yeah.
That
Somebody,
sucks.
Thanks to whoever pointed that out to me, but I would have found out eventually.
Yeah.
When I built up the circuit and it's not regulating.
Or it starts letting out blue smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And,
that's
oops.
I hate that. So that was just from the actual
annoying.
Transporting of schematic
just
symbols?
Just the dragging around of the cut and pasting of the schematics, to making them, because it was all crammed together, so I had to cut and paste and select and move little bits out of, bigger bits, and it got all ugly.
Dave, you were complaining about, you were looking at a schematic the other day, and I remember you complaining about how smushed together it was. You're breaking your own rules now.
No, I don't mind smushed together. I wasn't complaining about...
I hate smushed together.
I love that if you can cram a schematic on one sheet. That's brilliant.
Dave.
That is the holy grail of electronics, your schematic on one sheet,
You are old.
I swear.
That's what that is. That's what you are.
No.
You got these huge symbols with, 20 pins on a super fancy micro, and that's I don't like that. I don't like
one
necessarily.
Sheet. No, I wasn't complaining about that.
You were.
I was complaining about people don't put enough annotation and information on the schematic. I was looking at even the Arduino ones do this. They're horrible for it. If you look at some of them, don't even have the names of the chips on them. That's what I was complaining about your Shmoo project, the SEE.
CE.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
CEE, sorry. Project. I looked at the schematic for that, and I swear, unless I'm a Stevie Wonder and can't see it, they haven't put the chip number next to... Like, they've got the chip there with the pins and everything. Yeah. They don't tell you what the chip is. What?
I haven't looked at the latest one.
Do I have to go look up U1 and then go look up, cross-reference a bill of materials or something to find out what the chip is? Put the damn number
I don't
on
agree
the
with
schematic.
that. You're right. I don't like just having the reference designator. You got to have the actual chip name.
Got to have the chip name. Yeah. What is with that? I mean,
you know what the worst thing is, though? When you start having multiple chip names, like if you have like an internal name for a chip, like some of the companies I work, all the companies, they
it's
always...
the Dragon processor or something, but it's actually a rebadge something else, or you.
Well, no, not even that. I mean, like if there's like an internal part naming system, because you bring in, in resistor 1 and then resistor 2, right? So then you need 3 markings on the page, right?
And
so
it's 369-497. That's the part number.
That's the kind of part number, right? Exactly.
No, that doesn't go on the schematic. That's buried in the bill of materials, for purchasing and.
I've seen it on schematics too. I mean, it depends.
No, that's just
because then you can.
Well, yeah, okay.
It's kind of like a built-in security measure, then, right? So if you lose that,
I've probably seen that.
It's not necessarily just this is an LT.
Well, that's okay.
10
as long as it doesn't substitute the actual real part number. You can put it in addition.
If they're both there, if they're both there, that's good.
That's great.
What I'm saying is, I've seen it without both there. So you'd have reference designator and only internal part number, and then it's like...
Right, And, I've seen that too. I've probably had to do that, actually, on a design or two back in my military days, so...
Yeah, you got to hide those secrets. How to hook up an op amp.
Follow some convoluted naming system that some idiot in the company made up 50 years ago,
there's another
propagated.
Exactly. There's another one where it's like, I've seen schematics where, it's the LEDs are named pilot lights, right? It's like, what are you gonna do? It's just they all get shoved in the same category.
And they've got little filament symbols, It's actually a little filament with a glass bulb around it.
I don't think that's what's really going on in there anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it's just the stuff you got to live with. So I don't know.
No, if you work at a company, you play by their rules. And
that's right. I guess the real question
brings
is...
me to my next bitch.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, I got no end of them today. I'll tell you what.
He is raring to go. Monday, guys. Monday. That's what I'm saying. Dave comes off a weekend of...
Moaning Monday.
Yeah,
okay.
Moaning Monday.
Where
there you go.
I just moan about everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
That's a segues directly into something I expected for my latest video. I posted some code in there, right? I showed some code, and I was debugging code in real time trying to fix this DAC problem, right? And, of course, nobody talks about anything else about the product apart from how shit my code is. That's all they talk about. Oh, no, what are you doing that for? No, don't do this, do this, do this. And it's like, shut up. It's a dictatorship, okay? It's my code. I'll do what I damn well like. Stick it up your ass. You don't get a say in it.
Yeah, that's one of those things where a lot of the people, I mean, like, software always seems accessible, right? And so, and I haven't seen your code. It really could be shit, right? But
well, it could be, yeah.
But it's like everyone has an opinion. So then that's what the real problem is.
Yeah. That's the problem.
So
yeah, whereas hardware, it's order of magnitude more opinionated than hardware. You know, I mean, I've had a lot of, with this power supply
series, you do have
series,
a lot of
I've
opinions,
a lot of opinions on the hardware of what I should and shouldn't have done, and it's like, and in the end, it comes down to that's what I want to do. So kiss my ass, I guess your way's not better.
With hardware, there's only two, there's only two ends of a resistor. You're going to hook it up one way or the other. Both are right. With programming, you can do whatever the hell you want to, as convoluted as you want it to be, and then it hopefully will work at the end.
Well, I think my code is not convoluted at all, and I think it's very straightforward. And people took me to task because I didn't put something in a for loop. My SPI driver code. I should have put that in a for loop, and you should have done this. And
I don't know why you keep...
it was easier to cut and paste, and it was easy to modify when I was debugging the thing. So bite me. I don't know why you even keep
later, but YouTube comments on. I was talking to Steve Grathio about that. What are the value of YouTube comments these days? It's just turn them off.
It makes in your search engine, in your rankings. It's big for rankings. So turn them off at your peril.
Yeah. So search for the word ass, and they come up in comments all the time, right, or something like that. Like every bit of profanity comes up in a YouTube comment search.
Oh yes, YouTube commenters are the most colourful of any
scum.
Yeah, scum.
They are. I'm just whatever.
There are some bad. Yeah, you get a much higher percentage of bad ones on YouTube than you do anywhere else.
Yep.
So. And everyone has an opinion, but no, they don't talk about the hardware or anything else. All they're talking about is bitching about the code, and then, Anyway, I expected that, so it's not, not surprised in the least.
Well, what else is in there? I mean, you got the Arduino wonkiness. You got the people on YouTube.
There were a couple of things with the Arduino wonkiness. It wasn't just the fact that they broke stuff with the API interface, there was other stuff. Like, I found out the hard way that the Arduino IDE, right, can actually delete your source code file and the entire subdirectory it's in with one click of the mouse from within the IDE. I find that staggering. I don't know of any other development environment I've ever used where I can actually delete the code I'm working on from a menu option. It actually deletes the file from your file system and deletes the subdirectory. And there's a drop-down menu there. Delete. Boom. Gone. I thought it was just, okay, I'm deleting the tab on the IDE. The IDE has open different files and it has different tabs you can open up and you can swap between files. And I thought I was just shutting down one of those. But no. Poof. Gone.
No backups, nothing?
What possessed? In what universe is this a good idea to add a delete option to a program, any program, let alone one designed for beginners? Are you shitting me?
Yeah. Well, why'd you click it?
Because I wanted to figure out how to delete the tab, close down a file. There's no close option. I couldn't find it, so it must be delete. Boom.
Yeah.
Silly me. I didn't see that it would delete the whole file and the subdirectory it was in.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Anyway, and there were other stuff. Basically Murphy got me at every step.
Yeah.
A lot of things conspired to make my first Arduino experience, completely horrible. So
that's too bad, man.
I know. sucks. But anyway, I'm over the hurdle now, I think.
So now you're locked in, right? There's no going back now?
Now I'm locked in, and yeah, exactly.
See, now, so I'm going through the same thing. I'm starting up a project with just a simple MP3 player, and I'm putting it into this old vintage radio, and I've been talking about it for a little while, but I don't
Sacrilege.
know. What? Why? I'm still keeping the tubes. I'm pumping it into the tubes.
Oh, right. Oh, the tubes still light up.
Yeah. No, they're not lighting up.
Do they actually do anything?
I'm pumping the audio right through the tubes.
Oh, awesome.
For that
Get some extra distortion on top of the MP3.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. You better run a very low bit rate on that MP3 too.
Yeah.
Run it at like 16K samples per second or something. Telephone quality, do it at 8K samples.
Oh, my God. But yeah,
Why not? The tubes are going to give you a couple of percent distortion anyway.
Oh, they will, definitely, yeah.
Awesome. Anyway, continue.
Oh, no, I'm just wondering about I was asking on Twitter earlier this week about that. You know, I'm trying to decide whether or not to just go with existing board, like an Arduino or something with expandable headers, like a BeagleBone, Arduino.
BeagleBone's overkill, I think.
It's total overkill, but the trade-off there is speed. Like, granted, I still have to get the BeagleBone up and running and get the file systems, and that's full-blown Linux,
but there's
too.
plenty of boards out there that just, like, they have, like, a PIC or an Atmel on there, and they have an SD card slot, and they play MP3s. There's plenty of projects like that. Surely somebody sells a kit for that, and you can just buy the board.
Yeah, well, that's the real question.
It's literally a DAC chip. It's literally an AVR or PIC chip with a SD card.
Yeah, but the question is, I mean, well, not the question. The thing that I'm trying to balance too is, like, I want to use this as like a learning more too. I want to, go along and have stuff to learn and more embedded experience,
Right, so it's not just hacking something together to work. It's
right. Yeah, exactly. But then
otherwise you just would have gone to the $2 shop and bought a little compact MP3 player and stuck that in there and wired it up. Right.
Right. Exactly. It's like why? Yeah, because you can get MP3 players for $3 these days, something like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
kind of ridiculous, but.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I should...
And it has to play MP3s, or can it play WAV files? Because WAV is easier. There's less processing and grunt involved in...
That's true.
Doing WAV files.
Balance there is just the, the size of the SD card, I guess. And
well, they're cheap. You can get a 2 gig one for free. They give them away for... I've got a drawer full of them here.
Well, you send me some then, man.
But it costs more in postage than it would to...
Yeah. You'll be fine. Just send me some. Yeah, you got these accounts. You're good.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm moving along. I'm enjoying ripping this radio apart, and it's
okay.
That's fun.
See you wanted to use some old chip or something that's obsolete. Is that right?
Yeah. I was looking at the I was actually looking at Lamore's project, Minty MP3, and I didn't know that one. I think that chip's still around, but then there's another one that's like just a really hard chip to get, and it is funny too because like it's like this all-in-one chip. It's by VLSI Solutions, which is I think a Finnish company, and but they're just so hard to get because they don't distribute through anyone. You go on like Fine Chips or Octopart, and it just says nope, no one sells those. And you can
because they're only sold to the toy companies who want to make 1 million little MP3 players.
Exactly, and then when I try and buy, actually. I think SparkFun has it for like $20, which is still a lot, but
that's a lot. Yeah, that's huge.
Exactly right. And then you see them in bulk. You can get them for like $3, but I'm not buying more than $2 maybe. So
you need to go to a market in Shenzhen.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a perfect. If I had that kind of access to materials.
Somebody has a reel somewhere, but none of it's itemized, so you have to go store to store. Oh yeah, this guy's got reels, I'll ask.
Yeah. And then they just were like, no, just believe me, it plays MP3s. Yeah.
Boy.
It's interesting, we have some stuff on the list about that ability to go down the street. If you're a manufacturer, right? Say you're manufacturing, you're hard up for stuff. Basically, that is a competitive advantage over anyone else. So if you're that's why companies making electronics in Shenzhen or Beijing or anywhere else they're doing in China, or even like what's the one in Japan? What's that shop?
Akibaba. I'm pronouncing that wrong. Yeah, I'm sure. Like Akiraba or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But the same thing. You're able to just go down the street and you have this whole supply chain set up. And there was an article earlier this week about It was on Bloomberg,
Of
actually.
dubious quality, of course, but still, hey, it's there, right?
Oh, yeah. You don't know if you're getting necessarily... Yeah, if you're buying it off a stand, you don't know if you're getting, like, top-quality parts. In fact, you should probably plan that you're not.
He's also selling hot dogs, right?
Soda's 99 cents more.
You get a free reel with every dog.
Yeah. But, yeah, there's a lot of hubbub this week about that Apple article. It was Apple talking about... Foxconn and just the availability and how Steve Jobs was able to, how they wanted to quickly bring up the screen capability and how the supply chain's in place in China, and that's true, and it's just something that basically everyone else has to deal with outside of China, and that's kind of the big competitive advantage these days. This Bloomberg article actually talks about that the wage difference isn't necessarily the only thing holding people back anymore.
Oh no.
It was crazy. I always am like, because it's only 10% of the cost difference, and the rest is just availability of workers and regulations and taxes and everything else. And I didn't realize it worked like that. I mean, I'm always shocked when I see that kind of stuff.
Yep, that's the real world.
Well, damn it.
I know. I want to continue to live in fairyland.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy,
yeah.
It's a big deal, availability. Try living here in Australia. We've got Farnells here, which isn't bad, but they're holding less and less local stock, and it's got to come from Singapore, it's got to come from somewhere else, or
Yes.
And then it's still not as big as DigiKey, and then DigiKey once again isn't as big as the local markets in Shenzhen. So well, especially in terms of price and stuff like that, and sometimes availability, and so they can't carry everything. There's just too many parts. Damn it, that's the problem with the world.
One of many, yes.
Yeah.
So, speaking of manufacturing, though, I mean, there was an announcement this week, at least in the U.S., about
your illustrious leader.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your illustrious leader gave his State of the Union speech, which nobody else in the world gives a shit about, but apparently it's a big deal in the US, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But
and he talked
what I heard was very
shit,
great,
which he has no power over anyway.
Well, that's true, but aside
Congress,
from that,
send me a bill now and I'll sign it today. It's like,
right.
Well, Congress are half and half. They each hate each other, and they're not going to sign. They're not going to put through jack shit. It's one of the country works at all.
Right. But I did like what he was saying.
Anyway.
I did like the idea, but some of the execution is kind of interesting. Like so that same thing with availability of parts, right? Say we try and bring tons of tech manufacturing back to the U.S. today, like just even PCBs.
Hang on, can we start out by saying at the state of his? If you haven't heard Obama's State of the Union address, basically pretty much at the start, I think it was, he started talking about bringing manufacturing and jobs back to America. That was, that's going to be the saving, thing for America and all that sort of stuff.
Maybe.
So, as well as taxing the rich and prosecuting the people of the global financial crisis and building up their military while at the same time downsizing it, which is an oxymoron. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, let's not go there.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's, he gave lots of rah-rah about bringing local jobs and manufacturing back to America.
Right.
So that was the basis of this whole thing.
Right. Exactly. And I like that. I don't know what other people like.
Of course, it's well-intentioned.
Right, very well-intentioned. But the question for this forum is that realistic? I mean, could electronics come back to the U.S., or even weirder, could electronics come back to Australia? And I don't know. I think, that other article I was talking about...
Well, it can for the U.S. For Australia, no. It's just not going to happen. Our market's not big enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I can't even get a production PCB manufactured here. I can get a prototype PCB manufactured here, but not a production board.
Right.
But they're all shopped out.
What would it take then to actually get that stuff back next to you? And I think...
Well, it takes somebody to actually have the guts to they can do it and take a loss for a while until people realize the service is there, and then...
Right.
Hopefully pay extra for it,
and
as well.
Enough people that want to pay extra, I suppose.
There
as well.
has to be an affluent market that people see an advantage, like I am at the moment. I see an advantage in advertising my stuff as locally produced, or as locally produced as possible, even though it costs more. But hopefully people will think, oh yeah, that's a cool thing. I'll pay extra for that.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong and go out of business, but that's fine. At least I'm having a go.
Yeah, and I think that in terms of like parts and availability of parts, I think that kind of stuff actually does build back up, but it doesn't build back. There's all that stupid lean manufacturing and all that other crap.
Yeah, just in time,
just
JIT.
in time. Oh, just in time meaning you can't get parts. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you could if you were just in time with payment, as in lots of payment. But I think that stuff builds up naturally alongside it. So I don't know. I think there's a compelling case for it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next 10 years, but I hope it does, because similarly, I would love to be able to buy a board from a local house, if for nothing more than to be able to go knock down their door and be like, what the hell did you do here?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is my board looking
like
that
option? How many PCB fabs are there in the US? There's a lot.
There are. Yeah,
there
there's
are.
some. Yeah.
End of story. There
but
are.
Production run style, I don't think many go to them anymore.
Oh, no, because everyone wants the last cent. They're shaving off the last cent. So,
right.
It's a race to the bottom.
Right.
So they're going to offshore.
Right. And I think the real thing is if that race to the bottom would ever come back. I don't know if it will, because I think that time has passed. I think people are starting to realize, this China thing is here to stay.
Is oversold itself, I think.
Oh, like
and
that.
There are jobs coming, and there's manufacturing coming back to the US, coming back to Australia. We've talked about it before, and it's happening, and it's visible.
Yeah.
That it's happening. So will it continue to happen? I think it's a certainty.
Yeah. Okay, well.
As people in China want first world wages and first world conditions, and I don't blame them. They should. So I think that,
Right, and then we could treat domestic workers
and then
like
India,
crap.
Then we can treat India as our next
yeah, I know.
Race
and
to
that's
the
the thing;
bottom,
it keeps bouncing around, and
I know.
I don't know. Eventually, costs will just go back up. There will be some semblance of equality across currencies, and then eventually you'll have a shop down the street that'll make stuff because it's just as expensive as shipping it from across the planet. Or at some point there might be printable electronics that are cheap enough to just print in your home.
Grown.
Yeah.
Before it was making your own chips, and now it's printable electronics because you failed in that, and you'll fail in printable electronics too.
All right.
All right. And it comes down to the consumers too. Us. We, when we expect to buy something for $1, and
and for it to flash
that
lights
is the real
and do
issue,
everything.
and for it to flash lights and do everything else, and we're just encouraging that market. If people actually would actively seek out locally produced, people who advertise locally produced products and all that sort of stuff, and be willing to pay more for it, then the consumers can fix this. It's a supply and demand thing. Always has been, always will be.
Economists. Ugh, we do need them after all.
Yeah. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got used to in the last 10, 15 years of buying all this cheap shit from China. We got so used to it.
Yeah.
And it's our own fault.
Yeah, I think, I think with cheap stuff, I think there will be some kind of trend towards, either making your own cheap stuff in terms of like printing it or buying it. You don't think so? I think so. Not printed electronics necessarily, but,
Thank you.
Well, no, like printed stuff, whatever printed.
For, the case, a 3D printed case or something like that,
right.
For prototypes and things. That's not going to do it for quantity, of course. So.
No.
But, just for prototypes and short runs and things like that, for sure.
All right, well, I'm done on my manufacturing rant.
Right, okay, thank you. Can we go on to other rants? I'm sure we have other rants.
I got something about...
Yes.
Ooh, go.
Well, DACs.
DACs.
In my latest video, lost in all
Meanwhile.
lost in all the noise over my bad coding techniques and how I'm doing it all wrong, was the fact that the DAC I'm using, the Microchip MCP 4922 12-bit DAC, is a bit of a heap of shit. It's got pretty poor specs, and I actually measured them, and they're pretty darn ordinary. I was expecting better. You know, it advertises an INL of plus minus 2 bits or something, but you read the spec sheet and it's plus minus 12 bits over temp, of course.
So that was like marketing versus reality.
Yeah, and sort of, I just sort of expected, but it is the cheapest DAC you can get on the market. So,
how cheap is it?
I got what I paid for it. Oh, it's $1.90 or something. Which sounds like a lot, but it is the cheapest through-hole DAC I could get on all of DigiKey. So,
through-hole. You're still dealing with through-hole, huh?
Yep. Yeah. But others aren't much better. They're a similar price. You actually pay a premium for these. It's not like you can get a 20-cent DAC,
Yeah. Well, you can get it. I think the thing is they're getting pushed into a lot of micros these days, too. Like, I know some of the
and their performance is pretty shit, too. So I wouldn't count on them if you're after performance.
No.
You've got to use an external DAC. That's why external DACs still exist.
Yeah.
Because their performance is generally better. Except in case this microchip one, it's not that great. I was expecting it a bit better. I measured 3 different chips and I could see the spread across the 3 chips and, yep. Anyway, I think I'll try the 10-bit version. It should be tighter for my application. So here's an application where it could be beneficial to go back from 12 bits to 10 bits.
So is it one of those things where it's die sorted and you're just using the 12, the 12 bits shaky, but they just say it's 12 bits?
It's shaky, but exactly. As we said the other week, we talked about this chip, and it was the fact you said it's exactly the same die, and they just give you the reject ones for the 8 bits and the 10-bit ones, but at least they're tighter,
right? Because
then you're down to your least significant bit.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at them all as 12-bit DACs, then you just slice off certain amounts of bits, then they look pretty good, right? I mean, effectively, you could just use the same one and throw off the last 2 bits and say,
oh, yes,
it's a 10-bit DAC, but then you are paying for 12 bits when you only get 10.
But the way I'm using it, I've got to use the low order bits and not the high order bits, just based on the gain of my amps and stuff and how the system works. So I've got to use the low order bits. And I explained that in the video. And otherwise, yes, I could use the high order bits of the 12-bit DAC and, But, sadly, that's not how it worked in this case.
So you wouldn't switch over now to a whole new part?
No. I'm sure the 10-bit one will do exactly what I want. So the 12-bit one's adequate. You can calibrate it out if you want, but I was just expecting a bit better, that's all. I was a little bit surprised, maybe wishful thinking.
Are you doing this for like current programming, or what are you using it for?
I'm using it to generate a voltage, which determines the output current and the output voltage of my power supply.
Okay.
So the actual DC accuracy matters,
Yeah,
and
DC accuracy. Yeah. I remember that stuff.
Yeah.
That's not my world anymore.
And I'm using 0.1% resistors, and I'm using a 0.25% voltage reference, and et cetera, and the DAC's just, it's pretty darn ordinary. But anyway, it is cheap.
Yeah.
But I know, not as cheap as just PWM in it. Yeah. Okay. No need to leave comments. Thank you. I know.
Right.
I'm perfectly well aware of that.
He gets enough software comments, folks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I decided to use an external DAC. It's lower noise, and because it's a better educational thing. It shows people how to use external devices, and then it's more expandable, more flexible for variations on the system design. People want to design their own, then, They might want to put in a really schmicko external 12-bit DAC.
Yeah.
The system will be capable of that. Just plug it in.
So now, if you were teaching someone about, I guess you are kind of in your videos, you're teaching someone about board design. But say you were teaching someone about board design for 10 years from now, what would you tell them to concentrate on? So there's this article that someone shared basically about 10 years from now. What do you teach people for 10 years from now? How do you prepare them? I was thinking about it for electronics. It's I don't know.
I've got a simple answer. You teach them passion.
That's
what you teach them. You don't, technical shit doesn't matter. Right? You teach them to be enthusiastic and passionate about what they're doing, love what they're doing, and then they'll be good in 10 years' time, regardless of where the technology goes.
That's a really good answer, actually. Thank you
very much.
That was my favorite answer from the whole bunch of the people, because they interviewed.
There was other people who said the same thing. Good.
Oh yeah.
Good to see.
Yeah, there was and they interviewed a lot of people, and they're all like, oh well, I'm in the medical field, so I think people should study medicine. Yeah. I'm in the electronics field, so people should study electronics. But the reality is that, who knows in 10 years, but that's a good answer, Dave. I like that.
Thank you.
I think your kid might turn out okay, aside from all the being raised by you and stuff.
Can I have a little Altium rant again?
Again?
This kind of just jumped in there. They're always trying to... Come on, let me do it. They're always trying to be 10 years ahead of the market. They're always trying to guess where the market's going to be in 10 years. Or it's going to be FPGAs. Or it's going to be cloud. It's going to be the Internet of Things. It's going to be this and that. And they try and base their business around that instead of focusing on just the core basic stuff, which will still be around regardless of what happens in the wider field.
So you're saying to concentrate on the really good... Yeah, and I think that's not just Altium.
Concentrate on the core stuff, which is important, if you learn in electronics, learn your electronic building blocks, They're always going to be the same.
Yeah, make sure you understand Ohm's law. That's a good starting point.
Yeah, exactly. Really, understand basic op-amp configurations, basic transistor configurations, basic components and how they work and how they interact, and everything builds on top of that.
Right.
So
yeah, especially when you look at it as like a distribution of when you're going to deal with super, like learning about memristors, right?
Yeah,
exactly. You might learn about memristors, and they might be important 1% of the time. But if 90% of the time you're working with op-amps and signals and DC accuracy, like you were talking about, you need to know that stuff, right? That's kind of like the
that's right.
It's like a musician knowing their scales, right? That's the same kind of thing.
It's bread and butter. Yeah. It's your bread and butter stuff.
So you're saying the companies do that too, where they try and some companies try and go off too much.
Companies like Altium or Altium in the US try and they try and guess where the market is going and try and and put all their development efforts into what's going to be in 10 years' time at the expense of the present and the expense of those 99%. Once again, should be Occupy Altium.
Yeah.
And at the expense of the 99%
I think
who
you
just
still gotta
want
look
the bread and butter stuff.
A little ahead, though. I mean, you got to look
yes, you do, but you don't
2 to 5
bet
years.
the farm on it.
No, yeah, I wouldn't bet the farm.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And likewise, you don't, some university teaching electronics now, if they go and concentrate on the memristor or whatever it is down the track, quantum friggin' electronics or something, and spend half your course learning that shit, and then in 10 years' time you find, that's, only used 0.001% of the time.
Yeah.
Every job I've ever been to needs just the basic stuff, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Right? Because you spent too much time focusing on that niche stuff that might be the future. Yeah, it's okay to spend, a bit of money, time, and effort on it. Keep it all going. Fully support that, of course. But yeah, when you, so it's the question is obvious. The answer to that question that you asked is, what should you teach people now for 10 years' time? It's obvious.
Passion.
Anyone who says something specific, that's the wrong answer.
Yeah. Interesting counterpoint to that. There was an article about older engineers in Silicon Valley in the New York Times, and basically how they can't
Have they got grey beards?
They do have grey beards.
Excellent.
Some people call them grey beards. But yeah, they were saying that they can't get jobs either because they're hardware engineers or there's too much software around there and it's only like younger people getting hired. And there was this really interesting comment, though. They said they talked to Google, and they said Google said, "We're looking for candidates who are passionate and, quote, truly have a desire to change the world." And so what I'm wondering is, are they trying to say that older engineers are not passionate?
They're crusty and they don't have any passion anymore. It's been beat out of them by Dilbert land.
I mean, maybe that's. I mean, I've seen that before where there's you kind of slow down,
old and bitter. Yeah,
yeah. And the question is, I mean, like, are there engineering jobs in this crazy world we live in where they're stable, quote unquote? Does that even exist anymore?
Military jobs, big military companies, yeah. Those stable. Quote marks, stable jobs in big companies there, they beat the passion out of you. But some people like
specs.
that,
They beat you with specs.
Specs and procedures,
and Gantt charts.
Using 20-year-old obsolete parts.
That's interesting. I wonder if certain industries kind of shade more towards that, like other than military. Because
congratulations, you've been promoted to component obsolescence engineer.
Yeah.
Please go to a new corner.
Yeah. That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Don't miss that at all.
No, it's true. And there's jobs out there for everyone, for all kinds.
Yeah.
People, and there's nothing wrong with being old and crusty and hating the world. That's fine if that's who you are.
Add some
and
flavor,
who you want to be, that's and cynical about everything. That's fine.
Yeah.
There's a job for you,
Yeah.
Maybe if you're not getting the job, it's because you're a dick instead.
Oh.
Or you're unemployable
Dear
like
Mr.
I am
Jones,
now, I think.
we decided to go with other candidates because you're a dick.
I think I'm probably unemployable now.
Oh, yeah, you totally are.
I think I totally am.
Your shortcomings are now well documented on the web, Dave.
Yeah. I know. I would so have to ditch everything from my resume,
I was thinking about that. I put some of my my online stuff on my resume finally, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, this could go really well or really poorly.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah.
I've had it go both ways. I've had it go excellent. They go, holy shit, you do all this stuff on the side. We're hiring you. You're the best candidate ever. And then I've had others just shake their head and point towards the door.
Really? Wow.
So yeah.
Why do you think that was?
Because they don't like anyone who, with their own opinion or with their own desire to do things their own way or
opinions.
No, surely not. And so all companies are different. Every company has different requirements. Some love that.
Yeah.
Like Google may love that or
yeah.
something. They may love that passion and excitement, but other companies, that's no. You'll get, pointed straight back out the door and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, sir.
Yeah. It's interesting because...
It's the way it is. The world's a diverse place.
Yeah. I mean, like, so on the other end of that, right? So crusty old guys might not...
The arse end of the world, yeah.
Right. The old hardware guys might not be able to get hired, but there's actually software startups that are so hard up for people. They're training people without any knowledge, which is really interesting because... like I don't.
You got an example for this?
Yeah, Living Social. That what's it called?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a it's like a Groupon or coupon site. But yeah, they took 24 people. They hired them based only on their. I guess it would be like a
niceness, their personality.
Yeah, it'd be like one of those what do they call those behavioral interviews?
Tell
me about a time where you had a problem with a coworker and how you solved it.
God, I hate those.
Punch.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
anyway.
so the worst kind of interviews ever. But these people were obviously very bright, but just didn't have any programming background. So now Living Social, they took them and they were hungry for a job, basically, and they said...
Is this some sort of experiment, like public experiment of...
Yeah.
It is, because surely there's no shortage of programmers out there they could have hired.
Well...
Right.
But...
Experience. Come on, you can't tell me that there was absolutely no programmers left, that they were forced to do this. They're doing this as some sort of experiment, right? Social experiment.
I don't think so, because I think the problem is that they're in Washington, D.C., right? So if you... try and get...
Come on!
Hey, you try and get people to a part of the country that there are no other jobs, that's a pretty big risk for someone, right?
I get no other jobs. You're saying there's no programming jobs in Washington, D.C.? And you would rather have somebody with absolutely no programming background at all rather than somebody with just some.
I'm sure they're getting a discount for this, but... It's a very...
Oh, you think there's government incentives involved here?
No, I think they're getting a discount because you're not hiring an experienced programmer.
Right, so they're paying them.
Right, if you can't teach them, train them, right? Or if you can't hire them, train them. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I think it's a really cool idea. I don't know if it's... I mean, it's a big risk, obviously.
It's not very practical. You put a lot of resources into training these people.
Well, you got to make them sign a contract to stick around, right?
And they're very unproductive for quite a long time.
Yeah, well, that's a question. I mean, there's been other studies about kids in high school programming. Programming's kind of weird like that, I think. I mean, like hardware, maybe it's the same, but there's you have to not only work with your hands but also have the conceptual stuff in your head. So
There's a theory there that you have to be, the best programmers are the ones who can remember 8-digit numbers or something, and there's a direct correlation there. Some people just aren't cut out to be programmers. Their minds aren't wired that way, regardless of
you, apparently, according to YouTube.
Me, apparently, yeah. Regardless of how much effort you put into it. It's like, I could study chess for the next 50 years of my life, 24 hours a day. I'm still not going to beat Garry Kasparov at chess, right? Because his mind is wired in such a way that I'm just not going to be that good, not even close. I'm sure my mind's not wired that way. So regardless of the amount of training you put into it, some people just can't.
Well, maybe
aren't going to be good at this stuff.
Yeah, and maybe that's what you screen for in these applications. I guess,
or you think you're screening.
You're screening for, right? That remains to be seen. But an interesting thing would be the same with hardware. I mean, what if you had a group of 100 people from scratch? What do you look for hardware people?
Oh shit!
Willing to burn themselves? How many times have you electrocuted yourself around the house? And how did you feel about doing that?
Very interesting question.
I think so. I think I would go for risk taking. I mean, not afraid to try stuff. Not afraid of breaking stuff. I think about my own exploits. It's like, the times I was most successful.
No fear of looking stupid.
Yeah, and retribution from management, right? Sometimes that matters too. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, that's for a lot of industries, but maybe for electronics, I guess, trying stuff out, reading stuff.
Maybe somebody walked in and first thing they said was, "I don't give a shit. You're hired."
The Dave Jones test.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I don't give a shit if you sack me or think I'm doing something stupid or my ideas are dumb. So yeah, maybe that's the attitude you need.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that would help for sure. I don't know what else there would be though. I mean, I think about watching people start up from like hobbyists, and a lot of times it's just willingness to. I think even willingness to copy stuff at the beginning. Get that effective muscle memory, right? So knowing that resistor A connects to resistor B, that kind of thing, and not being afraid to even do that. That's a good starting point too. So I don't know.
I don't think there's one right answer here. There's never one right answer for this stuff. It's so wide open that.
Yeah. I guess you could just put them all in a room with like some Legos and see who makes the coolest thing. That's always a good test.
Hey, that's as good as any, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah. And plus, at the end, you got to call you a couple cool things, right? So,
there's somebody, look, I made an elephant. You go, nah, that's pathetic. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Actually, there's another thing about, there's actually, not necessarily just for hardware, but I hadn't heard about this. There's a similar program for startups, and like a boot camp / incubator. Have you heard about this? I'm going to say this wrong because it's stupid leet speak, but Accelerator, HAXLAR 8R.
No, and it is really bad. Yes,
that's really bad. But the idea is really cool. Basically, I think it's with Seed Studio, but basically you go to Shenzhen and basically you start a hardware startup, and I was like, whoa, that's awesome. So there's like actual applications. I think it's still open. I'm not sure if it's like rolling applications, but basically they are trying to pull in startups, hardware startups, and actually give mentoring and materials, and I think money even, like kind of like a Y Combinator type of thing. And so if you look at the list of mentors, I mean, Brad Feld, who's real big in the investment scene. Mitch Altman's on there. Eric Pan from Seed Studio. So a lot of like really familiar names, and these are all available for mentorship and everything else. It's a really cool idea, I think. So I don't know if it'll work out, but hey, money and hardware, that doesn't hurt.
Who's it open to? Anyone?
People with startups. Here we go. Frequently asked questions. So you get up to. Oh, that's what you get.
What kind of startups though?
Oh no.
Is it like an open source?
Oh,
thing?
Good thing I mentioned it today. The deadline to apply is January 31st, 2012. So you guys have 2 days. Assuming it's not Shenzhen time, in which case it's 1 day. Wow. Should have mentioned this earlier. has been on the list for a while, and it was just luckily right above. Man, that's
some of the shit on our list does expire.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, here's the things they're looking for. They're looking for consumer devices in either health, fitness, or travel, other things too. Right. Gadgets, consumer electronics, in software.
Not more gadgets.
Appliances, packaged goods, or just a means to end, basically. And I don't know. I think it's a really cool idea, but obviously people have 2 days. And so they're also teamed up with China Accelerator, which is a same kind of thing, and I think that's actually sponsored by the People's Republic of China, I think. So, yeah, people should check it out. I mean, in terms of, a cool program that's available, in terms of, like, how do you learn to do a startup? I'm guessing you have to have some kind of experience in order to really make it into this program. Right. But I think a really good idea would get you into this program as well.
Right.
So, yeah, it's cool. And you got 24 hours or so to apply. Hope you don't listen. If you're listening, if you're listening to Amp Hour on, good thing we didn't record tomorrow, right, Dave?
And we've got it at the end of the show, so we've just wasted an hour of your time.
Yeah, right. 23 hours.
Exactly. Damn, they should have mentioned this at the start.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh boy. Come on, we got 5 minutes left.
Oh, what else? Maybe we should find other things on the list that might expire soon. Oh boy.
Or to bitch about.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
I'm looking, man.
We've done a lot of bitching on today's show.
Oh, we have, yeah. What else is on here?
This makes for great radio.
Oh, it's so good. Dave, start singing. Did we get our our ham thing?
It's not going to happen.
I forgot to check in with people.
Not going to happen. Not enough hams.
Not enough hams? You just said you wouldn't do it anyways.
And not enough care factor from me, so that's...
To all the people that did get their ham license.
Once again, it's a dictatorship, dude.
Oh, it's not a dictatorship here. It's a two-person dictatorship? I don't know. It's a council.
What I do is my own dictatorship, I can assure you.
Yeah.
Nobody else gets a say in it.
I gotta hold something over your head. There we go.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Hey, we were talking before the show about my MakerBot, right, which I still haven't built yet, but every day I go into the lab, I can smell that burnt wood.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, because it's laser cut wood.
Because it's the laser cut wood, and I can smell it, and it is really quite strong. And are there any dangers of this? Are there people dropping dead in the MakerBot factory? Or are going to drop dead in 20 years' time, because it's all carcinogenic because of all this burnt wood.
Like mesothelioma, something like that.
Well, Gesundheit.
That's like the asbestos disease,
mesothelioma.
Right, okay. There's commercials for it all the time around here because all the lawyers want to help sue whoever.
Oh, okay, want to sue.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, can we link in the Weird Al Yankovic clip? I'm going to sue ya.
What was that a play on? Was that what song?
Oh, I know. I don't care what song it plays on. I just love his songs for the
okay,
for the fact that they're just cool in their own right, not that they're playing on someone else's song.
Oh, I know. It's easier because you were just singing, so.
Yeah. Most of them are obscure songs I've never heard of anyway.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, because you listen to mostly
I'm a Luddite, right. And is it a problem? Does anyone know?
I hadn't heard of it.
Let us know.
I had never heard of it, but I mean, there are a lot of kids out there that are doing that kind of laser cut wood thing. So,
yeah,
I know that they definitely all the laser cutters definitely have really good ventilation on them.
Good ventilation. So when it's happening, but are there any after effects from the?
Maybe
I'm sure when it's the act of burning, yes, you would. I'm sure it's very bad stuff, and you wouldn't want to be breathing that shit in. So, but afterwards, I don't know. If I can smell it, then I mean, there's something in it, right?
Yeah.
So it's giving off something. And if you know how to get rid of it, can I seal the edges? Can I lacquer the edges, and that will sort of seal in the goodness?
Yeah.
Seal in all that carcinogenic goodness.
You can just spray paint the whole thing, right?
Yeah. Well.
I guess you'd have to take it back. You've taken it apart yet? You didn't even build it yet, I thought.
No, I haven't even built it yet.
Yeah,
but
just
it looks
spray
cool,
paint it,
right?
Yeah.
No, it looks cool.
Yeah, you have the first pink MakerBot.
Oh, yeah. Great. That's all I need.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
So I have one last thing. It's actually a fun thing I found on Reddit, and a lot of people were excited about it on there too. But actually,
that's an endless source of amusement for you, Reddit.
Oh, I love it. Hey, man, that's how we met. We got to give it some shout-outs, you know? But, yeah, there was a great post, basically. Agilent is giving away free posters. So if people have a lot of room on their walls.
Woohoo, spared no expense.
What do you mean? Free posters?
Posters.
Oh, yeah.
Free posters.
Hey, they're cool looking.
I thought you were about to say giving away free oscilloscopes or something.
Oh, yeah, right.
Hey. And then the ears prick up and, giving away posters. Oh,
yeah, okay. But they're giving away good, I don't know, these are good stuff. So, like, they got, like, a RF transmitter and receiver, kind of like the whole chain. And, obviously, they're trying to get you on their list of people. Oh, right,
so the informational posters.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, how, a DMM works or how an RF transmitter works, that kind of stuff. And it's for education. But it's cool, okay. If you got room in your lab and you want to hang stuff up, you can give them a shout and they'll send you a poster for free, I think. So I think the cost of admission here is your email.
Yes, to be sucked into the funnel. And obviously you'll have to be US based as well because nobody exists outside the US, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was something about that. There's certain countries, I know Brazil they wouldn't ship to Brazil for some reason, but
those pesky Brazilians.
Yeah, I guess so. So but yeah, nice looking poster. So if you want some of that,
Want some of that poster action?
Poster action.
Get on there. Milk them for all they're worth.
Yeah. That postage has probably cost the most.
And if you've got your own domain name and you've got infinite email addresses, can you get an infinite number of posters and send Agilent broke?
It's weird. Dave Jones 1 through 37, they all seem to be going to the same address.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So I should mention for next week, I'm not going to be here.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes. Yes, enjoy your honeymoon.
Yes, I'm going on my honeymoon. Actually, next 2 weeks I probably won't be here. So I think I'll be real jet lagged on the second week back. But we do, as people always like when Jeff is on the show, and Jeff has agreed to help us out. So
he has agreed, has he?
Yes, he has. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay. You actually asked him instead of just assuming he'll turn up.
Yeah, calling the day of. Hey, Jeff, what you doing, buddy? Yeah. Yeah. So next week, Jeff will be on. I will.
Can you say where you're going to?
I'm going to Hawaii. So I will be halfway between here and Dave, basically.
You always do things by halves. You never finish. That's your problem.
Yeah, that's true. But why would I want to go see you on my honeymoon?
True.
Yeah. I did look at Australia.
Australia's cool.
It is, yeah. But I looked at it, but it was a little too pricey, so
And I did. Then I sort of tried to argue with you. No, you should make the effort to come to Australia. Then I realised, no, you're almost on the other side of the US, so you can't. It's not like you're on the West Coast where you can just fly out and, it's only a 12, 13, 14-hour flight or something. Only.
Yeah. I think it's like...
Yeah, you've got to do like another 8 hours, don't you, on top of that, so...
you really don't know geography, do you? I don't either,
What?
But yeah, it's like it'd probably be about 15 hours from Chicago to Australia.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, someday, man.
No, but you'd have to do it. Well, no, it's 14 hours.
You said 14 to Dallas.
Sydney to LA.
Oh, I thought you said 14 to Dallas, but okay.
Well, yes, it's 14 or 14 and a half to Dallas. That's as long as the planes can fly.
Okay, so then it'd be another 2 on top of that.
You're actually sucking on fumes as you land in,
Yeah, that'd be another 2 hours on top of that. But I'm sure I'll get out to Australia someday. We're gonna try and get, we'll see if we get some sponsors someday to, send me out there or Dave over here, and maybe one day, me and Dave will actually shake hands. You never know.
And the world implodes.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that'd be good. So, which islands are you going to? I know we're over time, but I'm just interested in
Maui.
Your holiday. I'm taking personal interest.
All right.
Here.
Look at this. We're like almost friends, thankful. Dave. We're not just co-hosts. We're almost friends, buddy. I'm going to Maui and Kauai, and then Oahu is the main island where Honolulu Airport is. So I'll spend a day there too.
But that's not the big island.
No, not the big island.
So you're not actually going to the big island.
No.
Oh, man, that's the best.
Volcanoes, meh.
I think it's active at the moment.
I think it is, yeah.
Oh, man.
Another reason not to go there. Another reason not to go there.
No, it's awesome. Live a little.
I will, on a beach, with a drink in my hand.
Why? There's no beaches in Cleveland?
There are, actually, but they're frozen over right now.
Oh, okay. Well, just go sit there anyway. Lay a towel down and save your money.
Yeah, that's right. I could. Nice half-hour drive up to the beach.
Awesome work.
All right, guys. Well, I will talk to you in 3 weeks, and I'm sure Dave will be back next week, unless he forgets.
Yeah, I got nothing better to do.
All right.
I'll be here. Catch you later.
See ya.